Having an inner critic that echoes in your head and hurts your ability to feel good, recover, and be resilient is part of life with ADHD and not the part I like. I literally have a story going in my head this week that is totally harsh and negative and keeps me up at night. And my gosh, this inner narrator is kind of mean. Hi friends, I'm Caroline Maguire and I am here to talk about all things friendship and ADHD. Being left out and sidelined is part of life, but I think when you have ADHD, you have been sidelined so many times in life, it triggers rejection sensitivity, and what might be a little thing grows in your mind to become very big. What might not even be a rejection, just an oversight, the dreaded read receipt where you know someone read your text and hasn't responded, brings you back to middle school and back to a place where someone did not play with me, and now I am in a spiral. So let's talk about how your inner voice shapes your ability to bounce back from being left out and just bounce back with ADHD. As an adult with ADHD, you may have spent a lot of time worrying what to say and do and watching for signs of rejection. They're everywhere. This is obviously no fun. Many of us with ADHD have social struggles and know what it's like to feel overlooked or sidelined in social situations. We have a lifetime of negative experiences where our efforts to connect with our peers resulted in being ignored, insulted, abandoned. No, it does sound kind of dark, but it kind of is the way it's been. Even as an adult, the pain of rejection or perceived rejection, because sometimes the story in my head is not really true, can be powerful and discouraging. In these social moments, when we are feeling insecure, on the spot, unworthy, our inner critic is often the loudest voice. It is possible to retrain our inner voice so that helps us rather than harming us, encouraging resilience in the face of social slights. Before I forget, I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel, like this video, click all the things. You can find my social media and my website in the description of this video. So what is this inner critic? What is self-talk? Self-talk is a term describing your inner emotional life where you experience communicating with your own self. Self-talk can be performed consciously or subconsciously. Everyone experiences self-talk differently, and it can include images and feelings as well as words. And that's the really fun part. I have images that come up as well as words, and it's like a fascinating place. That space in my mind is a whole dramatic entourage in there. There are two types of self-talk. Positive self-talk that includes encouragement and motivation and visualization and gratitude, cognitive reframing, affirming your personal narrative. Oh, I like that one. And negative self-talk, which can include self-criticism, catastrophizing, all or nothing thinking, personalization, mind reading, and other negative and discouraging personal narratives. The self-talk we engage in can consciously or unconsciously affect our self-image, as well as our perception of the world around us and whether or not we fit in. So in other words, it really skews things because that self-image you have may not line up with how things really are. When facing stressful social situations, particularly those we have had trouble navigating in the past, those of us with ADHD can find ourselves battling our own inner critic well before we are with or engage with another person. The way our inner voice responds to these challenges can affect how we handle them in the moment, how we recover from them, how much stress, my God, the cortisol's pulsing through my body, or negative experiences we experience, our potential for growth over time. The first step to improving the quality of your self-talk is learning to hear and identify your inner voice. Here are 4 strategies you can use to tune in to your inner voice. 1, practice mindfulness. Take a breath and check in with yourself. Notice the thoughts that may be hovering around your conscious mind. What are you saying to yourself? Remember, not all self-talk is words. Try to notice the images, the memories, the emotions, and things you may be holding on to. 2, pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. Sometimes our self-talk can settle into a pattern where we're telling a story to ourselves that is limiting and untrue, such as I'm awkward at parties, I am too loud, I am not attractive. These are stories that are our stories. There's not necessarily evidence for it, and it's actually limiting how you interact with people and how you feel. Challenge your self-talk by asking yourself, what evidence do you have that the story is true? I will also put in here my favorite tip of all time, which is Dr. Ned Hollowell always says, don't worry alone. And I have done this with him. I will tell him a story that I have about something that I'm doing, and I literally have made him laugh out loud so many times, because the story, when you say it out loud to another person or that inner narrative, it's just not true. So never worry alone. 3, take a step back to notice how you're speaking to yourself or about yourself. Does your inner critic sound like a second voice in your head saying things like, you are terrible at self-talk? If this is the case, try rewording that thought into something such as, I feel self-conscious when I try to make self-talk. I once heard somebody say something I love, and I'm gonna put it here, which is, don't listen to someone you wouldn't take advice from. And you know, it's like that inner voice, I'm sorry, I don't want to take advice from her, so she's done. 4, zoom out for greater perspective. Conversely, you might also try zooming out your perspective to that of a benevolent third-person narrator. That would be something like this. Caroline Maguire has a unique approach to party chit-chat. Identifying and changing your inner perspective can change your emotional response to the words in your head, which in turn can decrease the stress and increase resilience. How to adjust your self-talk is really important, and I make lots of videos about rumination and other things that really affect us with ADHD. Once you are adept at hearing what you say to yourself, then you can practice intentionally changing your self-talk to words and images that help rather than harm you. Research has shown that having athletes intentionally repeat affirming statements not only improves performance, but it actually helps them believe what they're saying. In other words, you can tell yourself, I'm a skilled tennis player, 1,000,000 times, but if you know darn well you can't return the ball to save your life, or I resemble that remark, then that kind of self-talk is not going to improve your double score. You make a lot of progress with self-talk with things you already believe. So I believe I'm a good writer. So this kind of self-talk helps me. I believe I have a unique perspective on things. This kind of self-talk helps me. Like all personal growth, improving self-talk and strengthening our resilience takes practice and time and self-compassion. When we use these skills to bring ourselves out in the world socially, the rewards are kindness, connection, belonging, and we need to realize that every step forward is a giant leap forward. Thank you to everyone who stayed until the end. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Is self-talk affecting your resilience? And there are things to clickety-click and more videos coming. Let me know what you think. Bye, friends.